Welcome everybody to our next masterclass on HubSpot Sales Hub and of course AI tools, the hottest topic at the moment. I'm Nathan George and I'm the Managing Director of Pixeled here, a marketing agency in Geelong, and I've got Paula Pisano next to me.
Hi everyone. Thanks
digital marketing strategist, and we'll be going through some of the tips and tools, but obviously specific to HubSpot. A lot of these principles and concepts can be applied to other sales tools, just in sales in general, but we're going to get quite specific about the tools themselves. I'm out of breath at the moment from running around getting these mics going. So just a quick bit of background. This is the Pixel team, and we're made up of a mixture of web developers, digital marketers and designers. And a little while ago, probably 5 or 6 years ago, I was playing around with different CRMs and tried different ones, Agile CRM, some other things, and HubSpot sort of stood out to me as one of the most easy to use. It looked pretty on the software itself, and it seemed to integrate with a lot of things. So I made some inquiries, I attended some events, and I ended up speaking to somebody at HubSpot, and they kind of guided me through coming to some events and sent me information and made it really easy for me to learn more about HubSpot and eventually buy HubSpot. And the interesting thing was I had no idea, but the person that was engaging with me, who I found very friendly and very helpful, and I thought we were becoming friends, I had no idea he was a salesperson, and he was actually compensated for getting me onto HubSpot. I found that out later. And that kind of made me feel a bit like, a little bit disappointed, but at the same time, I actually madly respected it because it didn't feel in any way sleazy or like he was just trying to convince me to do something I didn't want to do. It was a very wholesome experience, very helpful experience. And for someone like myself, I'm a reluctant salesperson. I'm a sales team of 1 at Pixeled. I don't like selling. I don't like cold calling. I don't like outreach. And HubSpot introduced me to this concept of helpful selling. And so just aiming to help someone rather than try to sell them something, changed the game, the parameters for me. And now I can go into it with an honest feeling and try to genuinely help people. And the end result is, yes, we sell something to them eventually, if it suits, if it fits. So that's my story with sales, my reluctant sales story.
Yeah, so we're going to do a quick recap on what it actually means at HubSpot CRM. So CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management Tool. And basically we want to do this recap because everything that we're going to show you from now on about all the tools within Sales Hub from HubSpot are all linked to this foundational step. Basically, the CRM is a very simple concept. It's where we store all the information from our contacts, our customers, and that information can be from like meetings and emails and calls, or it could be also the activity they have, on your website or events that they went. Just to give you a very quick example, like the other day, like when we get phone calls at Pixel, I just quickly check on our CRM and I could tell that that person that was calling, that lead, reached out to us like in March, early this year, and I already have all my notes. So that conversation went actually pretty well because I was able to access that information. So basically all the AI tools and features that we're going to show, you can see the actual good results once they have that information available.
Everybody likes to be remembered. It's like going to the coffee shop and they say, Nathan, another almond latte for you. It's the same in any business really. If you can bring up a history and show that you understand and know that person, even though you might not have the capacity to actually mentally remember every single thing, having quick access to that information gives the impression that you know and understand and remember that customer, so you can give them the right context.
Exactly. And just a quick tip, basically something easy for you to remember when you think about CRM is about storing all your client data and then being able to build on that. So then all your activities that you do, whether it's marketing or sales, it can be powered by this. And the best part of it is actually the HubSpot CRM is free. So probably the best way to do is you can simply sign up and play a little bit around it so you can see how it actually looks like.
Connect your website, connect your emails, your forms, things like that. Yeah, start collecting data.
So sales reps spend only 30% of their week on prospecting or customer meetings. All the rest is eaten by admin, meetings, research, and quote generation, etc.
So the flip of that is, of course, the 70% of their time is being pulled away from actual selling activities, and they're wasting it on data entry, on admin, on doing the things that are not selling. So that's clearly a problem. And in today's world, expectations are higher than ever. We want to try and alleviate that so that salespeople, sales reps can spend a lot more time actually doing selling, prospecting, and building relationships with your potential customers. And that's what I guess we're going to cover today with HubSpot Sales Hub and the power of AI to try and maximize sales reps' time, give them back that time to do what they're actually employed to do. So we know that today sales are harder than ever. We hear this all the time across all industries. There are longer buying journeys, buying cycles. Deals take longer to close. Clients' expectations are a lot higher. They expect a much more personalized experience. And they expect you to provide them like relevant and personalized experiences, right? So you need to know the context of what they're seeking to achieve to provide that experience. So why use Sales Hub and AI together? Because it consolidates a lot of tools that you need into the one place to make it a lot easier and automate some of those manual tasks. So fewer clicks, more productive reps, and more meaningful time with the customer or the prospects, which is the most important thing. 75% of sales professionals believe that AI could make them more efficient at their jobs, according to HubSpot's State of the AI report in 2024. And in 2025, a survey showed that 27% of sales leaders fear buyers will resist AI-driven interactions and prefer human engagement. So you can see there's like two things working against each other. Everybody is very excited to use AI at the moment. It's the buzzword, it's the hype thing. Everybody has this dream of not having to work so much anymore. Like AI can take care of all these things that I hate doing, manual tasks. But as we grow and use these tools more, humans are going to crave, they're going to recognize when it's AI-driven content, interactions, and they're going to crave human interaction. I think the relationships with people are going to become more and more important. And I think like we detect a pop-up on a website and just close it quickly, I think we're going to get better and better, more attuned to detecting when it's AI speak. If you see em dashes throughout the content or bulleted lists with that particular formatting, we're getting better and better at seeing it, and you may risk your reputation if all you're doing is interacting with people via AI.
40% of salespeople say prospecting is the toughest part of the sales process.
And that's not surprising. It's, as I said, it's getting harder and harder. Finding the right people that you want to engage with, researching them, finding out about their companies, about their roles, maybe using LinkedIn, other tools, so that you can build like a communication plan with these leads is a lot harder, and it's a lot more work. People's expectations, I said, are higher. So it takes a lot of time, and you can automate a lot of that heavy lifting with tools like HubSpot. So we'll go through why we think being personal, resisting the using AI in the right way, using AI with your own brand voice, your own messaging is the way to go, and not just using generic ChatGPT copy-paste style messaging. That doesn't work. So I recently attended, just a few weeks ago, Tony and I went to San Francisco for HubSpot's marketing conference called Inbound. This year in San Francisco, I think there was 12,000 people and about 90,000 live stream attendees. It's the Disneyland for marketers, and last year was very big on AI and the prospect of AI, but a lot of those tools hadn't really come to fruition yet. They were very simple AI tools last year. This year, everything's happening. Things are actually released. HubSpot had, I think, 250 new product features to release, a lot of them AI based. And I actually genuinely believe that HubSpot is leading the way in terms of CRM and AI tools for outreach. And the way they do it, it's a very wholesome, that they have the customer at heart when they're creating these tools. They want to provide a genuine experience. So that's what I love about HubSpot.
Yeah, just a quick note. I went to Inbound last year and I remember, AI was at the center as well, but it felt like perhaps we were testing how that will help us to accelerate. But people believe that now we're starting into this second phase, which is how we use AI to actually help transform our businesses. Because a lot of businesses are testing AI, but we actually don't have the results that actually help growth. So I think this new phase is actually being more strategic on how that actually can prove that your business can grow because of that as a help.
So lots of stuff about ranking in answer engines, and at the end of the week, I actually ran into Dharmesh, who is one of the co-founders of HubSpot. So that was a bit of a thrill for me, meeting him in the street, and he was nice enough to have a photo with me. I wish I'd spoken to him more actually, but I did feel like I was invading his privacy a little bit. But yeah, it was just an awesome week. Yeah.
So just in case anyone is curious a little bit about Inbound, we have published a new podcast episode where we sort of like talking about the main announcements, and there's also an article on Pixel website that also breaks that down.
So, as I was saying, there's challenges in sales right now. All of those things that I mentioned before about longer cycles, getting attention from these prospects is you've got to be longer and top of mind, and too much time being wasted on admin. So I'm going to go through a little bit about that. The first challenge of longer sales cycles. So US consumer spending in January 2025 fell for the first time in nearly 2 years, reported Reuters. And in late 24, over 75% of Americans have cut back on spending. So I tend to find that with technology and the economy that America kind of leads the way, and then other countries like Australia follow. So these are good stats to look at. So when wallets get tighter, sales cycles get longer. People do take longer to make their decisions. They hold on to their budget a lot longer, and they spend judiciously. So the sales process gets longer, and more objections might arise throughout that sales process the longer it is. And salespeople need to overcome more objections in that process. The second challenge is shorter attention spans. So if you want to get more out of your efforts over that longer sales cycle, you need to be more intriguing, more enthusiastic throughout the process, throughout its entirety. And you need to quickly develop and sustain trust. That's the big thing. So, as I was saying before, if you use generic AI tools that maybe spit out a very obnoxious or generic message, you lose that trust immediately. So that's become more and more important. Value is the other side of it. You need to convey value throughout the sales process. So making sure that your offer meets what their expectations are. The last challenge, I mean, there are more challenges than these three, but these are our three major challenges, is the admin stealing time. So oftentimes businesses mistakenly blame their reps for longer sales cycles or for overdue touch points, or just inefficient management of their sales process, their pipeline. But the reality is it's not necessarily those skills. It could be the systems and the tools that they're using and the changing in the market conditions. So I think a good way to start assessing your sales process and pipeline is to ask these questions. How many leads can your sales rep receive every day? How much time does it take for a discovery call, a demo, or a meeting? Do reps craft each follow-up message, or do they use templates? How much time did they spend with one lead on different stages of the pipeline? And do these numbers correlate with benchmarks or your colleagues? So if you have that information, you can start crafting a process, and we'll talk about this a bit later, but process is the big key here, and one of the major benefits of moving to a sales CRM like HubSpot.
So 96% of prospects report doing their own research before speaking with a human sales rep.
So with answer engines now, people are not arriving on our website. They're doing a lot of research themselves. They don't need to come to your website anymore. They get the answers straight away. So when they do finally come through to your website, they're already done. They may have been researching for weeks, so they know a lot more than they used to. Initial sales calls might have had to be quite educational, very much in that awareness early stage, but now they're coming at the pointy end. So sales reps need to be prepared for that. They need to understand the context of their prospects, what they've been doing on their website, other channels, social media, things like that, so that when they do reach out to these prospects, they're armed with information and can provide a much better experience. Sales Hub, of course, does that for you, and we're going to show you how you can maximize that with some of the AI tools.
So before jumping on the specific features, we just wanted to sort of show you the angle. Why do we believe that HubSpot Sales has the advantage of having everything unified, right? So basically we'll show you that all these tools and all the things that you can connect, like your email meetings, it all works together in the same space. And I think this solves one way issue that we see pretty often, which is companies having, you know, let's say sales teams that are working through different apps and different tools, right? You have your emails, you might have another meeting app, you might still use an Excel to track your customers or the sales journey. So one of the risks of doing that is, like, first of all, probably not everyone has access to the same information. That information is divided or spread out in different channels. If you, let's say you need to get ready for a meeting, you might not be able to see all the information that you actually collected. That also will be more time consuming to go through, like, this document to this one in this platform. So basically HubSpot really simplifies that. You just go to your contact and you will see a timeline with all that information ready, plus all these AI engines that we're going to show you how they also help you to get the information that you need. On top of that, we think that this is very important for processes, as Nathan was saying. So
Consistency is the key.
Yeah, and then, like, have a process that you can repeat. So basically, you will see that throughout the masterclass. Nate, he can also give you the pitch as a business owners and how this actually really apply this for Pixel. But my comment as a marketer is that when I have clients, and actually do have one client currently that is super embedded in Sales Hub, I feel very valuable for them at the moment because I have access to all that information, right? And I know exactly the processes, so we can together work on those processes. We know exactly how the sales journey looks like. You can see where you need to improve. You can have, like, long-term data to work with that. And this might be a little bit of a stretch, but we actually have clients that have been in this situation. Basically, in order to embrace this tool and to embrace these features, you need to be very aware of how your sales team's processes should look like in order to set it up, right? So it really makes you reflect, okay, what are the steps that we need to do? What are the things that we need to follow? So in one sense, it will be great because you know that all your team is doing the same process, and based on everyone doing the same, that you can scale and improve and review. But also, we found this to be very handy. Like, if anyone is in a position where they're aspiring to eventually sell a business, this is actually a great way when you have everything set up this way, because it's such a beautiful handover. And for many businesses, especially the ones that have, like, longer buyer sales or is more niche, all that in customer information is actually assets, and that's literally value.
100%. When I started selling, I used to, it was an ad hoc experience for my prospects, and the experience they got was based on my mood, how much I'd eaten that morning, how busy I was. They'd all get a different experience. So I'll show you, there's a couple of tools later on in particular that will help you really hone in on a process for selling.
Yeah, instead of we can flick to the other one, sorry. We found this quote. It says, 1 in 4 sales reps report that improving marketing and sales alignment will result in the most growth for the company. And we kind of joked yesterday when we were reading this, because as marketers, we will say that 4 out of 4 marketers will say that please, sales and marketing needs to be aligned. We don't think anymore that that's something that is that separate. And as I was saying before with this specific client, I get a weekly meeting with all the sales rep, and we have the best conversation, and we found so many more opportunities where I, as marketing, can step in. Like, our job is to bring you leads, and then their job is to get results in sales. If I don't have that feedback, I can't bring you qualified leads. So that work is so
I think we used to say aligned, but I think it's very much now overlapped. Marketing and sales are overlapped.
So basically through HubSpot, as we did do the last masterclass on Marketing Hub, which is available in our YouTube channel, you both teams access the same information. So everything is one place.
So just quickly, this is just a recap like I always do, but HubSpot ecosystem, the CRM is the core, that's the free part. But you can purchase these different hubs for the different teams within your business. We went through Marketing Hub in the last masterclass. You can find that link on our YouTube. Sales Hub today, and the other hubs are Service, Content, and Data Hub, which Data Hub was just renamed at Inbound, so it was originally Operations Hub. We may do another masterclass on those ones, but to be honest, marketing and sales are where most of our clients play.
So just to recap, what is Sales Hub? So basically it's a part of HubSpot, and we can find features and tools that are going to help us to do prospecting, the sales workspace to work with our leads. You'll find engagement tools, tools to manage your deals, and all the analytics and data that you need to see performance and do forecasting.
Awesome. So we've done enough talking, theory stuff, so we're going to get on to the actual demonstration of the tools itself. So we're going to start off with the prospecting and sales workspace. So this is where you're going to spend most of your day as a sales rep. The workspace brings together tasks, an email inbox, email sequences, and you can set up task queues so you never have to wonder what you have to do next. Your day is clearly set out, and you can process your to-dos, your tasks nice and efficiently. Sequences let you automate outreach, so when you're sending off emails to your prospects, rather than having to manually do it every time, you can set up sequences so no leads slip through the cracks. And there's also a meetings integration tool. I've kind of glazed over the meetings a little bit today, but allowing prospects to book into your calendar is my probably number one favorite tool. Having people book time in your calendar is far better than you emailing back and forth trying to get a date. And the idea is that all of this stuff just lives in one view, so it's nice and easy for sales reps. So the first tool is tasks. So this is basically a list of the things that I need to do for my day. It could range from calls that I need to make, things that I need to do, and basically I can filter these. So at the top, there's a nice and easy way to filter what's due today. If I need to look at my I'm in trouble list and my overdue tasks, things that I need to follow up right now, and anything that's upcoming in the future. It's very easy for me to just tick these off as done, or if I wanted to click into one and see what I need to do, it goes straight to that contact, that person, and I can see it was a call. And I'm hoping I can go back. There we go.
Also, something that is interesting about tasks is like to set up one, you don't really have to go out to this space of the task. If you're like looking at a contact profile, you can just add them straight away there, and it's very easy.
So one of the best things to do is, if you have a big list of tasks, is to just hit Start Tasks. And what it will do is it'll load up the first task, and like Spotify, I don't know if you've seen Spotify at the top, there's like a list, like a track list of all the things I need to do, and it will show all of the tasks. So rather than going back and forth to my task list, what's next, you just skip to the next thing. Okay, make that call. Okay, cool, complete. Go next. Go to the next task. Boom, I'm straight into that person's deal. So it just makes that process far more efficient for running all my phone calls. It'll pop up the things that it needs to pop up automatically, and you'll get through your queue nice and fast. The second thing is an inbox. I call this a conversation inbox. So anyone who's used a Microsoft product probably might have, in a business, they might have seen a shared inbox. It's similar to that, but of course it's in the CRM, so all the data and communication is in the one place. But you can funnel in not only an email address, like a support email, a shared email, but forms can go automatically into the same inbox, Facebook Messenger. So it allows one centralized point for you to handle incoming inquiries, whether that's customer or new sales inquiries. And it just makes it easy for your teams to triage them as they come in and assign them to the appropriate owner. You can set a priority, and if you wanted to, you could categorize them. You can see on the right hand side, it brings up all of the relevant information for this contact. I've used Paola as an example today. But just you can customize this and have all the readily accessible information that you want for your business. And it just makes it a much more efficient way. If somebody goes on leave, or if you have shifts, everybody is working in the same workspace.
Yeah.
A really great way to work. The third thing is sequences. So just as an overview, a sequence is a predefined series of emails with over a set amount of time that you might define, with the sole goal of getting somebody to reply to you. As soon as somebody replies, the sequence stops. So it's not the same as a workflow or an automation, which would just continue on anyway. It is designed to get a response. So very important for salespeople that are prospecting to leads that maybe don't reply on the first time all the time, pretty common, but allows you to sort of escalate or continue to touch base to try and get them at the right time. So we can predefine a sequence. So in this case, I've just quickly whipped up a sequence trying to sell people onboarding of HubSpot. So, hey, I hope this message finds you well. I'm Nathan from Pixel. I wanted to reach out because I believe my marketing team, your marketing team, could benefit from HubSpot onboarding services. Now, I actually generated this with the AI tools in HubSpot, just quickly. I then give myself a task to call and follow up. And then I send another email. And this can go on, for a month, a week, a year, however you want to, scale out your sales process. But as soon as somebody calls, emails, books a meeting, anything at all, any activity back, it stops. So definitely for prospecting, you could even do it a sequence when you send a quote. Mm-hmm. If you're finding that you're sending quotes and people don't necessarily sign them straight away, you might want to have a follow-up process to remind them. There's many use cases for this. I'll just quickly show you this one here. So say I wanted to get rid of that and I want to generate an email. I am selling HubSpot Sales Hub and I'm selling it to businesses in Geelong. I spelled that wrong, but that won't matter too much. I want them to realize how amazing HubSpot is. And I'm going to do this in a witty way for this one. I would never do witty personally for my business, but so it's going to generate this email for me for this sequence. And imagine having a sales tool so powerful it practically sells itself. Nurture leads like a pro and watch your sales soar higher than a kangaroo on a trampoline. Seriously, it's that amazing. I would never use that, but if I wanted to, I could insert that into this email. And that's now part of my sequence that I can enroll any contacts in. The last thing in prospecting was the meetings tool. So I really love the meetings tool. It's connected to my Google Calendar, but it connects to all calendars really. And I can define when I want to be booked. So I've chosen the duration, what days, what sort of sections or availability windows that people can book me. And I can even have things that show me how much notice I need. So I need a minimum of a day's notice, buffer time around meetings, but you can really personalize this to what suits your calendar. And it gives people a link, or it gives you a link that you can send to customers so that they see something like this. So they can go in and look at your calendar and say, oh, okay, Nathan's only available on Monday at these times. The good thing is, this is the preview, but when they click a time, there's a form they have to submit with their details of what, booking the meeting. It's a good opportunity to ask them information, what you want this meeting for, or try to extract how many people are in your business, just extra data that you're building on at that point.
Another little comment that I also found really helpful for when we're working here, you can also combine calendars. So let's say you need to book a meeting with me and Nathan. I can actually create a meeting link that combines our two calendars. So it's easier to actually find whatever spot we're both available.
Super helpful. Okay, that's prospecting and sales. Any questions at all? You can definitely ask questions in the YouTube chat. Please put them through. We'd love to have some questions.
Yeah, and Tony, you're allowed to interrupt if you see any questions.
Feel free to interrupt, yep. The next area was engagement tools. So engagement is about speed and consistency. So templates let you reuse messaging or the best emails that you have at scale, while still you can personalize. You don't have to, it's just to basically, you start with a template and then can tailor it. Snippets are just a smaller broken down version of a template. So it might just be a paragraph that you commonly use. Quick answers to common objections would be a good example of that. And live chat connects reps to people on your website. A lot of businesses can't use live chat because they don't have the staff to man it, because the expectation is that you would answer it quite quickly, but it is a tool there as well. And you can also use HubSpot's inbuilt calling. So you can make calls to customers. It logs the call automatically. It can record the call, transcribe the call. Just be aware that in Australia, you do have to tell people that you are recording the call. But yeah, together with all of these tools, I guess it just makes the outreach more professional, more repeatable. Yeah. So message templates look like this, very similar to the sequence editing that I showed you just before. This is an example of when we launch a website for a customer, we ask them for some feedback on Google and Facebook reviews. And again, you could use the AI tools to generate this email, but now whenever somebody finishes a job, or I could use this template in a workflow even, people can send this to customers, and it's a consistent process that we can kind of measure the success, how many people actually leave us a review off the back of this email. Snippets, as I said, it's a very short form version of a template. So it's not the entire email. This was a snippet from Pixel that we wanted to send to customers that were emailing web developers directly, and we just wanted to let them know, hey, we've got a support desk. Just so you know, you can email this to support at Pixel. And you can see with the shortcut, all they have to do is type in #forward-to-support, and it will spit out that snippet for them nice and quick. So that's another little time saver.
That could be also very helpful for, like, if you have a big catalog of products, just for product descriptions that you need to add in your email. It could be a good way to save the time right in there.
So chat, I'm going to skip today. I'm not going to show you chat. There is an AI agent though, called Customer Agent, which handles chat for you. It will answer questions kind of like ChatGPT does, but specific to your business.
It's on our website.
It's on our website at Pixel, so if you want to test it out, go for it. It will take all of the content from your website. It will crawl your website so that it can answer questions that people have. They don't have to browse around the website anymore. It will take data from your CRM. If you have the knowledge base in HubSpot, if you've got like a knowledge base, it will use that as answers, and you can upload documents as well. So if you've got, like, I don't know, the Australian building code, you could potentially put that into it. So very powerful customer agent, but we decided not to show that today because it's not so specific to Sales Hub. And lastly, I think I just wanted to show calling. So when logging a call, you can do this manually. So if you're just using a regular phone system, you can just click log call on any contact, type in the details about the call, choose the outcome, whether it was a inbound or an outbound phone call. And this gets really important, I think, for sales teams that want to track activity, sales activity. So I do this personally for myself. I track how many outbound sales calls I'm making. So by logging it, whether I connect it or not, at least it shows my activity, my attempted activity. You can use, for outbound calls, you can use HubSpot's inbuilt calling system. The way I use it, it's connected to my phone number, so it actually looks like it's coming from my mobile phone number. I click call on Bob Jones, it calls my phone, my mobile, and then as soon as I pick up, it calls the actual contact. That's the way they sort of route it through HubSpot, and just makes it so much easier. I don't have to actually click log call or anything like that.
Yeah.
And there are lots of other VoIP systems that integrate with HubSpot natively. Aircall is the most popular and probably the best integration I've seen, but it's also the most expensive.
something really quickly about the call section for HubSpot. If you actually integrate it with and you call from the platform, it doesn't only transcribe it, but also for managers, if you need to, upskill your team, you can actually get little fractions to show as good examples of help them with the script or speech. So from that coaching perspective, it also can be really helpful.
I think that's it for engagement tools. So deal management, this is the guts of Sales Hub. Everybody wants the deals and the deals closed. So this is where you store all of your opportunities with customers. So not just prospects, this is when they're becoming an opportunity to actually buy something. It's drag and drop, it's very intuitive and easy to use. I'll show you in a second. You define the stages of your sales pipeline. And off the back of that, you can build automation rules, triggering tasks, emails to those contacts, emails internally, loads of things. And you can measure how long deals stay in certain stages. You can set yourself like alerts if something lingers in a certain stage for a long time. For example, you've sent them a proposal, but they haven't signed it for 7 days. Does somebody need to take action? Does somebody need a follow-up phone call task? So this is where the process really comes into it and can really drive and optimize your sales pipeline. So now this is a demo account, so don't be alarmed at the time, the dates of these and the values of these deals in US dollars, but basically each column is a deal stage that we've defined for this demo account. So the initial appointment scheduled, we're qualifying whether they're able to buy or not. We've scheduled a presentation, decision maker brought in, contract sent, and then closed won or closed lost. The beauty is we get all this summary data at the top about what's going on in our pipeline. And you can also see summary values at the bottom of each column, just so you know how big your pipeline stages are. Again, you can filter this data so that maybe you only want to show deals that have been associated to me or owned by me. Sometimes bigger teams would have lots of deals and maybe it's just too much information to see on one screen. So you might filter them down. You could add data to it, maybe like certain products, and you only want to show the deals that have a certain product. You might have only deals that are over or under a certain value. Filtering is a very powerful part of HubSpot, and if you get good at filtering, it makes it that much more usable. So if I wanted to progress a deal, all I have to do is click and drag it across. And if I had an automation off the back of that, it might send a welcome email about the presentation that the customer is about to get. And then likewise, when the deal's won, it might trigger an internal email that somebody needs to go set up a file or set up billing or something for that customer. A really good one to have is if a deal is set to close loss, we can actually enforce that somebody has to enter a reason why the deal was lost. That's going to give you powerful information. So it pops up on the screen, close loss reason, and you could have either a manual text field or a drop-down list. You might have predefined reasons, but collecting data on why you lost deals is, if not equal, more important than why you won deals, in my opinion. So yeah, that's the deal stage. You can actually look at it from a list view. Sometimes if you have a lot of deals, this list view becomes more important. The benefit of the list view is you can choose which fields and what properties are shown in the columns here, and you can actually edit it live straight in here. So if you're doing a lot of deals, a lot of deal data manipulation, this might be the view for you. And again, you might just make sure you understand and use the filters really well to get to the data that you need.
Another quick comment that I found really helpful with one particular client, let's say you have multiple, like your business is set up in multiple locations and you have different sales team representatives, you can actually build one specific pipeline for each location. So it helps to have that very organized and separated, and you can see the performance of each place.
Helpful for reporting as well. So if you wanted to report the sales on each location,
absolutely. And also something that I think is a common question. So all those deal stages, let's say presentation schedule or close one appointment schedule, that's fully custom. Like you just can customize it. It's up to whatever that journey looks like for your business. So I feel like that flexibility of HubSpot is also a pretty good pro and advantage to really use.
So if we wanted to automate our deal stages, this is what I was getting at before about the workflows. These are all the stages that I've defined. And it's a very easy way to add automations when a deal enters that stage. So for example, on this one, when a customer becomes qualified to buy, I'm sending an email. It's just a random email, so don't ignore the subject line there, but I'm sending them an email to that contact. When a contract gets sent, I'm waiting, setting a delay for 3 days, and then I'm creating a task for somebody to follow that up. At the moment, it's no one, but it would of course be assigned to somebody, maybe the deal owner automatically, or it could even be assigned to the boss or the sales manager. So very intuitive. If I create a new workflow for this stage, for example, I can choose the tasks that I might want to make. So let's just send an internal email notification. And I might say, all right, I want to send that to myself. If I wanted to, I could send it to an entire team if I define teams within my HubSpot account. And the subject line is do something. And give myself an email, please give, and I'm going to use a personalization token here. So the enroll deal, give the deal, I'll say the deal, sorry, looking at the screen and typing is hard. Deal name I'm going to look for. So I'm going to insert the deal name into the notification email. And of course you can use any of the properties, any of the fields that you add to deals. And say, I might then follow up. I might do a delay. And I might wait a set amount of time. So I might wait 1 day. That creates that buffer I need. And then I might create a task, or I might send an email. The difference between an email is to a customer, an internal email is just for people within your HubSpot account. And you can see it loads a preview there, send that email. So that's basically it. That's how we can set up some simple workflows based on the different deal stages of your pipeline.
Just real quick, when I was saying at the beginning that sales and marketing are sort of overlapping, a lot of the work that we do for our clients actually looks like this. So you will define your sales journey, and then the way that we do marketing for you, sometimes it looks like setting up all these touch points to help you through that journey.
Just quickly, the settings, this is where you can set those deal stages, and if you wanted to, you could set these conditional stage properties. I talked about closed lost reason. You can say, right, at that stage, you must enter this information. Okay, so we're, in the interest of time, we're going to get moving. The last one was analytics and forecasting. So this is about getting insight, shows you activity, pipeline health, deal velocity is a cool word to use if you're a sales manager. Forecasting lets you view what's coming, best case scenarios, your pipeline, so you'll know where you're going to land. Playbooks are a really interesting tool to provide to your reps to follow a process when they're making sales calls, connect calls, follow-up calls. They can follow a playbook and capture data, and that's so you can help coach them as well. And then content tracking is another interesting one to see how your prospects are engaging with your content that you're sending them, like documents and proposals and things like that. So just quickly, forecasting, reps can log in. They might have a target goal for their revenue for sales. They can come into the forecasting tool and maybe grab a few deals that they think are likely to come in for this month. It automatically calculates it. You can leave a note. I'm saying, all right, for September, I think I'm going to close $25,000 worth of deals. and update the forecast. Simple as that. But if all your sales team are contributing to that, it becomes a lot more meaningful. If everybody is sort of working out, what they're expecting to close. You can set where is the column? Quickly, there's a field where you can set the probability, and this helps create this automatically calculated score. There's a lot of red deals there because this data is very old in this demo account, but you want to see some green high scores here, which is automatically generated. They're the deals that are most likely to close. It's used AI to sort of calculate that, and they might be the deals that you want to focus on. This is an example of a report for forecasting. So this is based on that pipeline. It'll show me what like the total of the pipeline is, the best case, what's committed to, and what's actually been won. So again, that's just if you want to have a bit of a predictive look at what's happening in your sales pipeline. Playbooks. So say if I wanted to make a connect call to Lachlan here, I have this predefined client check-in playbook, but it might be a sales outreach. It's basically a script or a process that you can read and follow when I make this call, how to take the call, what to say, what questions to ask, and as the call's going on, I'm filling out this information, and at the end of the call, hitting log call, it saves all of that data in the CRM, so it's all logged beautifully to be used by anyone in the team. And lastly, the document tracking. This is an example of, I sent myself a Google Ads brochure, this PDF here. Not only can I see if I've clicked it and opened it, but I can see how long I spent on each page of that PDF. Typically people spend the most time looking at the pricing. They skip right through to the pricing on a PDF. So that's really powerful too. You can also gauge whether someone's just interested in getting the price or if they're actually interested in what you're doing by how much time they spend reading that. So, if I get my mouse in the right place. Onto the good stuff. AI. So Breeze Intelligence, we'll have to go quick because we have talked a little bit too long. Basically, these are the key agents that we think you should look at in a Sales Hub and AI. So Prospecting Agent, the most exciting one. Prospecting Agent allows you to define a group of leads in your CRM that you want to know when to reach out to them and send an email touching base. So rather than me just deciding once a month to reach out to all of my potential leads, Prospecting Agent identifies triggers whether someone's doing something on our website, when they've maybe clicked on an ad, clicked on social media, clicked on an email, or it's doing AI research in the background. If something is happening on the internet for the company they work for, say they launch a new shop in Melbourne, it's going to pick up that as a trigger and suggest to you in this inbox, hey, you should reach out now, and here's a drafted email about that. So a classic example, this is a few leads that I've thrown in here. So Michelle was one, a lead that I'm talking to at the moment. It's automatically said no actions required because she's already told me that she's going to get back to me next week. Now Dalesford Hotel is not a lead of ours. We're actually looking at staying in there for our Christmas party, but I've put them in here for the moment, right? And so it said, all right, well, it's gone away, done some research with AI. Congratulations on the recent restoration and new ownership of Dalesford Hotel. The way you've blended traditional pub charm with modern dining experiences across your public bar, bistro, beer garden, balcony. A little bit long. So it's picked that up from news on the internet. Then it says, as you continue this exciting journey, I imagine that expanding your reach to both locals and visitors through digital channels could be a key driver for bookings and event attendance. So it's crafting this message. Now, you can give it your brand voice, how you want it to sound, professional, witty. You can give it, sample content, so it does sound like you. But eventually, this is going to hopefully be like so tailored that I don't need to even read it or check it. I'm just willing to press send. So there's two ways you can work with this. You can either just have it in manual mode where it's showing me this inbox, suggesting the emails that it should send, and I just hit approve to send it out. Or you can put it on auto mode and just let it do its thing. So it will reach out to your entire CRM, research, do what it needs to do, find the best time possible to email prospects, and send them to them with the goal of getting them to reply. Again, similar to sequences, it will keep going until somebody replies. That's when your sales reps get involved. That's when you're maximizing your time, because they're not spending this time just researching and finding things to do. They're only speaking to the engaged sales reps. So that's the most exciting AI agent for salespeople, in my opinion. The second one is meeting prep agent. So just if you are having a meeting for the day and I log in, rather than having to do that research, going through the CRM, maybe Googling what their business is doing for the day, I'll just use this because I don't want to give away to anyone's personal information, but so this might not give us the best results, but it will go away and do research on the data in your CRM, any previous conversations, any transcribed meetings or phone calls, and it will tell me what I need to know, some talking points, what the objectives of my next meeting should be. Just shaves time off. Instead of spending maybe 15, 20 minutes preparing for meetings, it might only be 5 minutes now with this tool. So very helpful. The third agent, meeting note taker. I love this one. This is a new one. I believe it's in beta, so I think you do have to apply to join that beta. But every meeting now, everyone's probably seen note takers so far, but this is a note taker connected to your CRM. So the entire meeting's conversation is logged against the CRM. It's giving me all of these summarized notes. It gives me a recording of the meeting. And just super powerful. Yes, there are meeting note takers. It's not original, the concept of a note taker, but having it in your CRM is so much more powerful. And lastly, the follow-up agent. So the follow-up agent, basically after every meeting, it's giving me all the things that I need to do. So I've been interviewing at the moment, as you can see, so there's a lot of interview follow-ups, and it's giving me what I should be doing, topics discussed, what I should be considering really, and it's giving me the follow-up email. It's going to generate it for me automatically if I want to. Yeah, it's just making the process quicker, faster, and it's really just about scaling. It's not about letting it replace everything you do, but it's about maximizing and scaling your outputs. So quickly, I don't know if we have time, we do have time. We'll just quickly go through our top 10 features that I think you should look at. So the task queues, that's my, one of the best things I think for the start of the day. That's the favorite thing to the start of the day. Looking at what's ahead, what you should be doing, and using those filters to tackle those overdue tasks.
Then we have the email template. So we already sort of say, basically templates are pre-written emails that you can store. So if it's something that you usually send often, you have them ready to go.
Snippets for speed, I use these. I'm using the shortcuts as well, making them nice and fast. But I find myself writing the same emails over and over and over again. So using the snippets for paragraphs saves me a lot of time.
Sequence that sells. So basically we went this with Nate. You can set up all like a mix of emails or follow-ups or internal notifications until someone actually does the action that you're waiting for.
The meetings. My meeting time is so much, my attendance to meetings, my show up rate is so much higher. People seem to value that time when they book the meeting in your calendar. They can see how busy you are. They can see that your time is valuable. So I love using the meeting tool. And now, of course, with the meeting assistant as well.
Yeah, now more than ever.
Even more powerful,
yeah.
So.
You've got playbooks in action. So remember, you can upload all your playbooks, guides, and scripts. So whatever your sales reps are having a meeting or a call, they can have access to that, take notes within them, and that will be all stored in that record.
You can't really optimize something unless it's a process. And I think playbooks is the way to do that for any sales team, is to have that playbook, have that process, see if it works, measure it, optimize it. Predictive lead scoring. So lead scoring is a pretty common thing in CRMs. You can basically define rules of what would make a contact score higher or lower. So if they've been to the website 10 times, you might give them some points, 10 points. If they've been to a masterclass, you might give them 20 points. But if they booked a masterclass and didn't come to it or something, I don't know, whatever that rule might be, you might remove some points and show like disengagement. That lets you focus on the contacts that are more engaged, more likely to close. In the higher up levels of HubSpot, there are tiers of HubSpot. In enterprise level, there's even a likelihood score, so a percentage chance that that contact is of becoming a customer. So very early on, you might see in your list that a contact has a 1% chance of becoming a customer, but as they do more things, engage more, have a deal maybe in the pipeline, respond to emails, that score will go up. And that's very handy as well for just focusing on the prospects that are showing the more likelihood of engaging and converting.
We've got custom dashboards. So basically you can create different reports and then you can link them all into a dashboard. Just to give you an example, something that I use a lot with my client is like we measure activity. So you can have a dashboard that shows every sales rep activity, how many meetings they had, how many emails they sent, how many calls they did. You can also see how many leads you got in sales. So we found it, really, really handy.
Alerts and notifications. So yeah, not letting things slip through the cracks. I was very guilty of that. Nick, who's worked at Pixel pretty much from the start as well, he can attest how many things I would miss all the time. So having these processes with notifications, really powerful, particularly for like following up. I think the easy win is following up on proposals that have been sent out.
Yeah.
And account-based marketing tools. For those that are interested in account-based marketing, targeting certain companies, there's an amazing kind of workspace called Target Accounts, and it shows you can define the companies that you're wanting to potentially work with, and it will track the engagement, the deal pipeline, how many emails and interactions and contacts that you're dealing with within those companies. So maybe that's for bigger companies or definitely for B2B, but there's some amazing ABM tools in there as well.
So the better AI gets, the more it allows us to be human. And being human is not a bug, it's our best feature.
So that was Dharmesh's quote, who I met earlier on in this presentation.
Thanks, mate.
So that's the key, right? We're not trying to replace humans with AI. People want to deal with humans. And I think all of these tools, particularly the tools from HubSpot, are about maximizing our time so that we can have those meaningful human interactions. So you don't have to do all of this alone. It is a big world, HubSpot. There's a lot of features, a lot of tools, and understanding which ones to use and what plan on HubSpot you need, sometimes not that easy. You don't have to do that alone, so you can do that with us. We have an onboarding service for HubSpot. We'll send you a link to the brochure at least so you know what that is. One of the easy, more affordable packages is HubSpot Starter, which gives you all of the hubs for a very economical rate. We have an onboarding package for that to get you set up and started on the right foot. We do it for you, configure it all for you and tailor it for you. For anyone who watches this, just mention that you came to this masterclass and we'll give you that onboarding package for half price. It will be on YouTube, so people might find that later on, but we'll allow that. Half price for the starter package, the starter onboarding, if you're interested in that. And that's us. Thank you for listening about Sales Hub and AI. I hope you found some good inspiration in there to get going with sales.
Thanks, everybody.
Well done.